Why do we people suffer when we are children of God? Chinmay from Bangalore, this is for you. This is Krish Murali Eswar from simplifiedkundaliniyoga.com. Let's first define the word suffering. There are two kinds of suffering that we can broadly categorize. Physical suffering, when our pleasure goes beyond the physical threshold. My favorite sweet that my wife makes, or my mother-in-law makes, or my daughter makes, I can maybe have it a few spoons, teaspoons. If I start having more than that, the same pleasure becomes pain, because the sweetness that I'm able to perceive in my tongue is because of the magnetic transformation of the biomagnetic energy that I have. Physical transformation of the biomagnetic energy is the taste sensation. There is only limited amount that I can enjoy because it is expenditure. If that expenditure goes beyond my threshold limit, the same pleasure becomes unbearable. We call it as pain. So therefore it is easy to conclude that any physical suffering that we have is related to the blockage, acceleration, exhaustion, depletion of biomagnetic energy in our body. Another physical suffering could be a disease or even a physical pain of a particular kind. For instance, let us say that a person's one part of the body is hurt while the person was playing, and because of the hurt there is blockage of heat, air or blood circulation in that particular part of the body. Life force rushes to correct the excess or blockage there of the blood circulation, and because of that there is accumulation of biomagnetic energy in that part of the body, leading to short circuit. The short circuit depletes some amount of biomagnetic energy. When that goes beyond the threshold limit of the body, once again that is unbearable. It is called pain. If the same pain persists for a long period of time, the depletion continues for a long period of time, it is called disease. The organ starts to fail because the amount of biomagnetic energy is not sufficient for the organ and the cells within the organ to digest food, absorb nutrition and eliminate waste. Because of this, cells start to die within the organ. Eventually the organ fails to function according to how nature intended it to be. Therefore, disease. When the disease goes beyond the threshold limit and the organ fails, multiple organs also fail in concurrence, and the entire body loses its ability to metabolize food, convert it into nutrition and eliminate waste, and there is a permanent exhaustion of the biomagnetic energy from the body, which leads to death, separation of our life force from the body. That is another extension of the same biomagnetic depletion related pain. Pain becomes disease, disease becomes death. So there is another form, there is a second dimension, a second broad category of suffering that people like to relate to: mental agony, mental pain, mental suffering. Why do we suffer mentally? Because it is quite natural for us as human beings, after having associated our entire living with that of the bodily sensation, to expect pleasure, expect always to be in a pleasurable, happy state. But because such a state is only illusionarily possible, that is, only in our imaginary world can we expect our wife to be always be nice to us, our children to be perfect, our father and mother to be giving us all that we desire for, all the colleagues and all the people who work with us always doing whatever we expect them to do. Such an utopian way of living is simply not possible in this world. There is a contradiction or a conflict between expectation and reality, which leads to disappointment. Disappointment therefore leads to suffering. The disappointment could be in various forms. It could be simple case of fear that, okay, I need to study well, I need to write an examination, I have not studied well, so therefore there is a perceived blockage of fulfillment of my expectation in the form of lack of ability in me, and I understand that, and therefore I get into this imaginary suffering. Nevertheless, this suffering is purely mental, related to our expectation. If there is no expectation, if there is no attachment to the results of our work or activities, so-called karmic way of living or karma yoga way of living, if we follow the karma yoga principles of working without expecting any results for our work, then there is no suffering. So first of all, suffering is a man-made, man-created word. How is it possible for us to then imagine that God is giving us suffering? God is not giving us suffering. God is nature. In nature, there is depletion of biomagnetic energy, and there are expectation, results, and law of cause and effect. We don't understand the law of cause and effect, and therefore we think that we are suffering. God doesn't give us suffering. God gives us results for our causes, our actions. If we don't want to suffer, then where should we begin? Of course, you are right, with ourselves, by changing our actions, our deeds, our thoughts, our words, and building positive thoughts, positive words, and positive deeds. We can certainly eliminate harm-giving, painful results, and therefore suffering can be permanently removed from our system, provided we go to the subtler levels of the frequency and moralize our thoughts, base our thoughts, words, and deeds on non-hurting ahimsa way of living. When we do that, and when we function within the laws of cause and effect, which is defined by nature or karma yoga way of living, there is absolutely no suffering. So now we need to elevate ourselves to that state, which is why first we have to focus our mind on our awakened Kundalini energy. Only in subtle levels of frequency can we superimpose our negative thoughts with positive thoughts and eliminate the harm-giving, painful karmic imprints from our system, and always live in a peaceful, blissful life away from pain, pleasure, sensations. It will lead to a suffering-free life within us. When we live with no suffering within us, with total awareness and consciousness of all our words, deeds, and our thoughts, there will be no suffering in our world, because we would have become one with the Almighty Force. Chinmay, I hope I have answered this question, and I hope this answer is also beneficial to a lot of other people. Feel free to comment on this video, feel free to ask your questions. Maybe the next video will be answer to your question. I'll see you in the next video. Be blessed by the Divine.